I flipped open my laptop just as the stage lights flared on, and there she was, Emily, in the very front row, arms wrapped around a guy I'd never seen before. The concert feed cut between shots of the crowd and close-ups of the band, but I couldn't tear my eyes off Emily's pale blue blouse, the way she tilted her head against his shoulder, laughing. I'd been based in Denver this week for a client pitch, and Emily had said she was tied up at the office in Chicago. "Call me tonight," she'd whispered into my phone the night before. "I've got a long day tomorrow." I believed her. I wanted to believe her. But now I realized she must have flown back last night, slipped into the city, and bought tickets to that sold-out show, side by side with him. I remember the way our apartment smelled that morning, fresh coffee and her vanilla shampoo. I kissed her forehead before sunrise, murmuring, "Go get 'em, Tiger." She flashed that crooked smile I loved, dug her heels into my back, and told me not to worry. I closed the door behind her, heart light, and swung into the car, thinking about slides and proposals A, B, and Z, everything but the fact that she might lie. By noon, I was in a cramped Airbnb rehearsing my deck. On a break, I peeked at my notifications. No missed calls, no texts. But then TikTok blew up with clips of tonight's show, and someone in the comments posted a Twitch link. Now I see them, wrapped in each other's arms, the camera catching her eyes sparkling at a joke he tells. She's leaning into him the way she used to lean into me when I improvised on my guitar in our living room. My throat goes dry. I scroll back. There's a shot of her checking her phone. Did she notice me flicking through old concert footage hoping she'd pop up? Did she scan the crowd for my face? I hit rewind. She checks her watch, glances sideways, and rolls her eyes at something he says. His hand slides up her back. I feel my chest tighten, like someone's twisted a wire around my ribs. I close my fist, knuckles white against the laptop. Emily's name flashes through my mind. Laughter, late-night kitchen conversations, promise of forever. And with every flash of her hair against his jacket, that promise phrase. He's whispering now. I can almost hear it. I see her nod, then lean forward, planting a soft kiss on his cheek. It's brief, but it's there. And the chat explodes. "Did you see that? Was that a kiss?" That's Emily from Denver's stream. Someone posts a screenshot. I feel like I'm drowning, surfacing only to gasp and type into the search bar, "Emily concert front row Denver." My hands shake. I mute the volume, but the image keeps burning behind my eyelids. I think, what if I'm wrong? What if that's someone else? But there's the blouse we bought together, the silver necklace she never takes off. I know every curve of her jawline. That's Emily. That's her betrayal, broadcast to thousands of strangers. I shut the lid with a thud, heart pounding. For a moment I sit there, staring at the blank screen, as if closing it might erase what I just saw. Then I press replay, and there she is again, slipping her hand into his, leaning into him like I never existed. A single text bubbles up. "Hey babe, lunchtime?" And I realize I have to respond. Should I ask, "Should you be at that concert?" Should I call the airline? Should I shout, "What the hell is going on?" But all I type is, "Everything okay?" Because I need to see her words. I need to hear her lie or confession or whatever comes next. My face is wet, but I don't care. I'm watching her live, watching her with him, and I know this is where everything changes. My thumb hovers over the send button as I wait, watching that little ellipsis spin in the chat bubble like a cruel metronome. "Everything okay?" Went out 15 seconds ago, and my heart pounds as if it's trying to break free from my chest. I stare at the blank screen, willing it to light up with her reply. Behind me, the hum of Denver traffic leaks through the thin walls of this Airbnb. But in my head, there's only the roar of that crowd, the flash of her smile against his face, and then the notification pings. I nearly dropped the phone. "Yeah, all good here. Just so busy, you know?" Her words feel like a slap wrapped in cotton. Busy. Busy enough to sneak into the city, buy last-minute tickets, charm some stranger backstage, busy enough to lie to my face. I swallow thickly, taste bitter regret on my tongue. I scroll back to the Livestream clip. She's brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, her eyes dancing as he whispers something I'll never know. She thinks she's hidden. The camera doesn't blur her out. She's on display. I close the chat, open Google Maps, and pinpoint the concert venue. The Ogden Theater, capacity 2,000, standing room only. I click through to taxi services, cost estimates. Half of me wants to book a red-eye back to Chicago, slam on her door at dawn, watch guilt crack her smile. The other half sits frozen, replaying every time she told me, "I'll never hurt you." My phone buzzes again. Another message from her. "Sorry I went MIA today. Crazy day at work, had to meet a supplier in person. You know how it is." I thumb scroll through my photos, one from last month, her beaming as we celebrated my promotion. Another, her hands squeezing mine as we stepped onto the airplane together. How could I have missed the signs? The late dinner deliveries, the perfume scent that didn't match her usual. I choke on a laugh that turns into a sob. I type back, "Supplier in Chicago?" My fingers tremble so badly the autocorrect jumps all over the place. I swallow and send it. 5 seconds later she replies, "Yup, big project. Wish you were here to help, haha." My vision blurs. Help. As if our life together is just some job she wishes I'd join. I lean back and close my eyes. A flash of that night she told me she loved me, against the backdrop of our downtown skyline, lights glimmering like promises. I thought promises were forever. I stand, pace the cramped living room, suitcase still open on the bed, half packed with PowerPoint files and rolled up socks. My laptop lies closed on the nightstand, its keyboard still warm from replaying that live feed. I kick at a chair, nearly upending it. I feel rage, fierce, leaping inside me, and grief, heavy as an anchor. I grab my coat. I'll go to Chicago. I'll confront her face to face. I'll demand the truth, but the flight's hours away. Even if I book the next flight, I'll arrive tomorrow evening. In 15 hours. In 15 hours she could decide to vanish again, erase every trace. I pace faster. I need proof. I need to see her. My gaze snaps to the window. The sun's dipping behind the mountains, 5:30 p.m. By the time I land, she could be halfway to another city. I swipe through social media, find the original Twitch clip, download it to my phone. I rewatch it in slow motion, his hand at the small of her back, her leaning in, that brush of lips. No question, it's a kiss. It's betrayal. My stomach twists, I can't unsee it. I open the rideshare app. Destination, Chicago O'Hare. The estimated fare makes me wince, but I tap book. As I wait, I call my best friend Jason. His voicemail picks up. I leave a shaking voice message. "Bro, I'm in Denver, but I just saw Emily with another guy. In a live stream. You know the one who does that weekly backflips for TikTok? Anyway, he's at the Ogden. She's front row, she's kissing him. I need you to check my apartment in Chicago. Make sure she didn't leave anything behind. I think she's been lying. Call me when you get this." I hang up, press my forehead against the window pane. Outside, the sky glows pink and gold. Beautiful. Unknowing. In 15 minutes, the driver will pull up. In 6 hours, I'll be airborne. In 12, I'll be halfway across the country. In all that time, she'll be free to weave more lies. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Jason. "On my way to your place now? Hang in there, man." Relief and dread war inside me. Relief that she won't be alone when I break her news, dread for what I'll say when I finally stand across from her. I grab the downloaded clip and forward it to Jason. He swears. "I'm so sorry, dude." I clamp down on tears. The rideshare ping sounds outside. I grab my bag, swing the door open, and step into the cool evening air. My heart hammers as I watch the driver pull up, headlights cutting through the gathering dusk. I slide into the back seat, phone pressed to my ear as Jason begins to describe my living room. I whisper, voice cracking, "Tell me everything. Did she leave anything? Any notes? Clothes?" He rattles off details. Her scarf on the couch, one of my mugs unwashed. No goodbye note, no apology. He's on his way to check the bedroom. I close my eyes. I breathe in and out, trying to steady the storm inside. The driver merges onto the freeway. I think of Emily's laugh, her hair twirling as she danced to the band's beat. I think of the promise I thought we had, and I wonder, when I finally see her tomorrow, will she break, confess, beg forgiveness, or will she straighten her shoulders, put on that crooked smile, and dare me to prove I saw what I saw? I glance at my phone. No new messages from her. Just one unread text from Jason. Found her phone. She left it on the bedside table. I tuck my phone into my pocket. In a few hours, I'll call to check in. But for now, I ride east into the night, clutching betrayal like a ticket I can't return. The freeway lights blur into ribbons as the car slices through the darkness. My mind spins. Emily's phone, cold in Jason's hands somewhere back in Chicago, and me, barreling east with nothing but strings of $20 bills in my wallet and a downloaded video clip that confirms every fear. I replay that kiss in my head, each frame sharper than the last, her lips on his cheek, her eyes closed for a heartbeat before she flicked them open. I slipped a hand inside my coat pocket and felt the familiar weight of my ring, twisting it between my fingers as if it might still somehow anchor me back to the life I thought we had. The driver takes the exit ramp. "We're at the airport," he says, voice thick with the day's fatigue. I hand over my card without looking and step onto the curb. The chill of the Chicago spring night slaps my face. I sink my hands into my pockets, the ground humming faintly beneath my boots. I glance up at the fluorescent glow of the terminal sign, O'Hare International, and I taste bile in my throat. Going through security, I feel like I'm walking into confession. The scanner's bleep is a judge's gavel. My boarding pass prints out grainy and creased. I clutch it like a lifeline. I find my gate and hover by the window, watching planes nosedive and lift off, each one a promise of arrival. My phone trembles in my hand. No new messages from Emily, just one from Jason after he found her phone. Nothing incriminating on the lock screen. No texts, no passwords. I'm heading back now. Incriminating. The word bruises me. How much more do I need? The clip speaks for itself, but my gut still whispers, maybe she's innocent. Maybe you misread. I swirl guilt and doubt like ice in a glass, trying to sip something. Closure, revenge, maybe just a shred of understanding. The seatbelt sign clicks off. We ascend into the night, city lights receding beneath me. I stare at the reflections on the window. Cabin lamps, hushed passengers, a flight attendant smiling at someone else's joke. I try to picture Emily in that moment, backlit by stage lights, her laughter ringing out, her body flush against his. I lean my forehead against the cool glass and close my eyes, breathing in the recycled cabin air. Jet engines rumble in my chest, a drum beat that matches my pulse. Time warps. I dream of stepping off the plane into the terminal's fluorescent hum, of spotting Emily at baggage claim, strands of hair glinting in the harsh overheads. Will she look surprised? Guilty? Will she fold into me, cry, murmur an apology so small I can swallow it? Or will she stand tall, shoulders squared, as though the betrayal is mine to prove, not hers to confess? The flight is 3 hours long but feels endless. I scroll through old photos, us on vacation in San Diego, me helping her tie her hiking boots in Glacier National, the night we danced in that dive bar in Nashville when the jukebox played our song. The more I look, the more I feel the knife twisting. I can almost feel the weight of the ring in my pocket, heavier than ever. I slip it off my finger and wrap it in the concert clip file folder on my laptop. The ring's cold metal against paper sends a shudder up my arm. I tuck both into my coat, deciding I'll wear neither tonight. We land and disgorge into the bustling terminal. My phone buzzes. Jason's back on the line. "Meet me at your place in an hour." I left her phone where she always charges it. I close my eyes mid-hallway. His voice crackles. "Nothing else weird, man. No hidden drawers or secret notes. She's not gone, but she's sure packing light. Just the phone charger and that one scarf she loves." I picture that scarf, emerald green silk, and then I picture her, slipping it around his neck and feel bile rise again. I buy a coffee, black, no sugar, and glance over at the arrivals board. My flight out to Denver was canceled for weather, but this one got me here. I clutch the coffee like it's the truth and walk toward the train that'll take me downtown. Each stop brings me closer to our apartment, closer to her. The elevated tracks rattle overhead as I emerge onto State Street. Neon signs flicker. I send Jason a text, "Meet me there." He texts back, "On my way." I should have asked him to wait, maybe kept him in the lobby to buffer what I'm about to do. But there's a primal need to face her alone. To see her eyes, to watch her spin lies or tears or silence. I step into the lobby, our lobby, the one I still half call mine. The old doorman tips his hat and asks, "Back so soon, sir?" I mutter something about work. My heart pounds as I take the elevator. 4th floor. I press 4 and sense Jason picking up her phone at the steps below, shoes scratching on tile. The doors open. The hallway smells faintly of carpet cleaner and jasmine. Emily's favorite candle. My thumb hovers over the deadbolt, then I push. The door creaks into the half-light of our living room. There's the coffee mug Jay said was unwashed, still on the side table. There's her scarf draped over the armchair. Her phone sits on the charging dock by the lamp. No note. No sign of a getaway. My throat tightens. I hear the click of the hallway door behind me and see Jason slip in, eyes wide. "She's not here," he whispers. "Just her shoes." I nod, voice stuck somewhere in my chest. "I know." I set the coffee on the counter like an offering. "I want you to wait here. If she shows, don't interrupt." Jason opens his mouth to argue but closes it. He gives me a nod and slips out, closing the door softly. The apartment is quiet, too quiet. I walk to the window and look out at the city. Neon reflections tremble in the glass. Back at the window, I brush a finger across the coffee mug's lip and see the imprint of her lipstick. Vapor trails resist disappearing. I turn and head for the bedroom door on instinct, but stop halfway. What if she comes through that door first? What if I can't hold the wave of questions when I hear her voice? I take a step back. I fold my arms and wait, the silence pressing in. The clock on the wall ticks. 10 seconds feel like minutes. I feel exposed, cracked wide open. Every promise, every laugh in that kitchen, every sunrise greeting feels fragile now, like raisins thrown onto a stage. I rub a hand over my face, closing my eyes. The next sound, her key in the lock or the hum of a train outside, will decide everything. The hallway is silent for what feels like an eternity, each tick of the wall clock thumping in my ears like a taunt. My breath comes shallow, heart pounding so hard I'm certain Emily can hear it through the walls. Then faint footsteps, soft, deliberate. I tense, every muscle coiled, waiting for her silhouette to appear in the doorway. The lock clicks. I close my eyes and exhale, readying myself for the moment she steps in. The door opens, a sliver of warm light cutting across the floor. Emily stands there, clutching her purse strap, cheeks flushed. She blinks when she sees me, as though she'd expected the apartment to be empty. "Honey?" Her voice is low, uncertain, something between relief and confusion. Behind her, the hallway is empty. Jason must be just out of sight, obeying my orders. I step forward. My palms are slick against my coat. My voice comes out raw. "Emily." It's all I can manage. Her brow furrows. She takes a cautious step in, leaving the door ajar. "Are you okay? Your texts? You sounded upset." She glances down at her phone in her hand, then up at me. The air between us crackles. I feel the downloaded clip burning a hole in my coat pocket, the weight of my ring folded in paper. I want to fling them at her feet to watch her reaction. Instead, I swallow and ask, "What happened tonight?" My voice breaks. She straightens, flicking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Tonight? I told you, I had that supplier meeting in the city. It ran late." She steps further in, closing the door softly behind her. The faint click reverberates like a starting pistol. I hold her gaze. "In Chicago, at the Ogden Theater?" I fight to keep my tone neutral, but it trembles. Her eyes widen. "Wait, what?" "No." She frowns, glancing around the room as if searching for hidden cameras. "Denver, babe. We talked about this." Her voice rises, brittle. "You're in Denver, I'm in Chicago." I feel the walls closing in. "She wasn't the only one there," I say, voice hollow. The downloaded clip unfolds in my mind, her laughter mingled with his, the brush of lips on the cheek. I draw in a shaky breath. "There was a live stream. I saw you, front row, arm around a guy who isn't me." I'm surprised at how calm I sound, like I'm narrating someone else's nightmare. Emily's face pales. She takes a step back, pressing her palms flat against the door. "A live stream?" she repeats, disbelief cracking her voice. "What live stream?" I see panic flicker in her eyes. She laughs, an odd high note of hysteria. "Emily, don't lie," I whisper. "I have the clip." My hand goes into my pocket. "Watch it." I pull out my phone, swipe to the downloaded video and hand it over, screen glowing. Her gaze locks onto the image. For a heartbeat, she's frozen, her cheeks flush, eyes widening. Then she jerks the phone back and watches, jaw tightening. The second her lips brush his cheek, her face crumples. She looks up at me through tears. "Oh my God," she whispers. "Tom, please, let me explain." I feel something inside me fracture, like I've been split into before and after. Part of me wants to turn and run. The other part can't look away. She closes the distance, reaching out, but I step back. "Explain?" I echo. "How do you explain this?" Her shoulders slump. She runs a hand through her hair, voice shaking. It was nothing. I was upset about you being gone. I felt alone." Her words tumble out in a rush. "He's just someone I met backstage. He offered to lend me his shoulder. He came from a long drive. He was sweet, and I'm so sorry." She's breathing hard, Eyes locked on mine, pleading. I feel tears sting my own eyes, but anger keeps me upright. You kissed him. My voice is low, accusing. Her lips tremble. It was stupid. One kiss. I swear to God it meant nothing, but I know I hurt you. She steps closer, arms out. Please, Tom, let's talk about this. My pulse races. I look at her open hands shaking slightly, torn between fury and the echo of every promise she ever made. Silence hangs heavy. I imagine standing there forever, listening to the chaos inside my head, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the love I still feel. Finally, I breathe. You said you loved me, I say, voice breaking. She nods. I do. The word is fragile. I close my eyes, heart raw. I don't know if I can believe you. Her tears fall freely now. I'll do anything to make it right. She reaches for my hand. I let her. It trembles against mine. In that moment, two broken hearts reaching across the gap, I feel the world tilt. I don't know what comes next, forgiveness or goodbye. But as her hand finds mine, both of us grasping for something real, I realize that our story has changed forever. And the next chapter, whatever it brings, starts here, in the quiet aftermath of trust shattered and love that still, somehow, remains. I stood there for a long moment with her hand in mine, heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted to break free. The apartment was thick with silence, too thick. Finally, I pulled my hand back and sank onto the couch, staring at the floorboards as if they'd hold the truth. Emily slipped beside me, her shoulders hunched, eyes red. I don't expect you to forgive me, she whispered. I needed you to know I'm sorry. Her fingers twisted in her lap, her voice small. I wanted to leap off that couch and scream at her, demand every lie she'd ever told, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I traced a crack in the wood with my fingernail. Why did you lie about Chicago? I asked, voice low. Why not just tell me you wanted to go to that show? She inhaled slowly, nodding. Because I knew you'd worry. You had that big pitch. You've been under so much stress. I thought I could surprise you when you got home, go to the concert together, tell you I flew back early as a romantic gesture. But when I got there, I saw him backstage, Mason, and he made me feel seen. Vainode. I panicked, thought about texting you, but then I just let the night carry me away. I closed my eyes, picturing her in those fluorescent crowd lights, meeting that guy's gaze, leaning in. You panicked, I repeated almost to myself. Like I wasn't worth waiting for? My voice shook. She looked away, tears slipping down her cheeks. No, Tom, it had nothing to do with not loving you. Everything to do with me being afraid you'd choose work over me every time. You've been gone so much lately. She dropped her head into her hands and let out a shuddering breath. The words hit me like a freight train. I thought I was doing this for us, building our future, securing our savings, but she felt alone. I'd thought team meant me battling the market while she held down the fort. We'd stopped syncing our playlists on the way to work, stopped sharing those last sips of coffee on Sunday mornings. We'd stopped talking about what scared us, and tonight she'd tipped over into someone else's arms instead of mine. I swallowed hard. We're broken, I said quietly. I don't know if I can fix it. She finally looked at me, eyes glistening. I want to try, she said, voice cracking. She reached into her purse and pulled out 2 glasses, one with the coffee I'd left on the counter and one filled with water. She handed me the coffee. I know it's cold, but right now it's all we have. I wrapped both hands around the mug, feeling its chill, and let the warmth seep into my fingers. Do you love him? I asked, voice barely audible over the hum of the refrigerator. She closed her eyes and shook her head, tears sliding down her cheeks. No. He's just a blur I got lost in. You're the one I wake up missing. She reached for my hand again, tentative this time. I let her take it, but I didn't squeeze back. We sat in silence for what felt like an hour, drinking from separate mugs, each lost in our own guilt and grief. Eventually, I stood and paced to the window, hands shoved deep into my pockets. The city lights flickered below, neon shrieking against the glass. I raised my coffee, inhaled its stale aroma, and let it out slowly. When I turned back, she was kneeling beside my laptop, setting down the ring wrapped in paper. She hadn't taken it off. I found this, she said softly. I know I don't deserve it. My throat tightened. She touched the ring tenderly, as if it were the most fragile thing in the world. I'll wear it only if you want me to, if you can ever trust me again. I closed my eyes, staring at that ring. It used to be a promise, forever, through anything. Now it felt like a question, can we ever be anything again? I caught her gaze and saw hope and fear mingling there. I need time, I said finally. I need you to earn my trust back. She nodded, her shoulders trembling. Every day, she promised, every single day. I sank back onto the couch, ring paper still in my hand. We should see someone, I said, voice smaller than I'd expected. A counselor. We need help. Relief washed over her face, and she reached for my hand again. This time I squeezed back just once. It felt shaky, but it felt like the first step. We sat there in our fractured apartment, two broken pieces leaning back together. Not quite fixed, but maybe glued enough to start rebuilding. The night pressed in around us, but inside there was a flicker of something like hope. It wasn't a triumphant chord, it was a tentative note, an invitation to try. And as Emily leaned her head on my shoulder, I realized that for the first time since the live stream betrayed us both, I believed we might find our way back, one honest breath at a time. The morning sunlight drifts through the blinds, painting slats of gold across the sofa where Emily and I fell asleep, fully clothed in the aftermath of our first long talk. I wake with a start, heart fluttering. Not the panic of last night, but the uneasy calm before something new. My hand reaches for the coffee mug on the end table. The stained ring paper is gone. I sit up and rub my eyes. Emily's in the kitchenette, pouring syrup over leftover pancakes I made in a rush last week. She turns at the scrape of my chair. "Good morning," she says, voice tentative. She's in one of my old hoodies, hair tousled. I notice she hasn't left yet. No makeup, no pretense. "Morning," I murmur. The pancakes smell of cinnamon and apology. She slides a plate across the table and I swallow. The fork looks suddenly heavy in my hand. "Jason's on his way over," she says. My pulse flickers. Jason agreed to help guard my apartment, but he's like the big brother I never had. He wants to drop off your laptop and... She falters, looking at my hands. I catch her gaze and nod. "Thanks," I say, voice rough. We eat in silence, each bite a small bridge across the gulf of last night. I realize I'm starving but can hardly taste the syrup. Finally, I set down my fork. "Emily, about counseling," I start, voice low. She exhales, setting down her mug. "I found a couple of recommendations," she says, pulling out her phone. "Dr. Reynolds in Lincoln Park. She specializes in couples who've gone through infidelity. First appointment's at 4:30 today. I already texted her that we might take the slot if it's free." I blink, surprised she moved so fast. Part of me wants to object, my schedule, my work, but another part knows this is exactly what I asked for. "Sounds good," I say, and it's true. The afternoon stretches with a brittle quiet. We busy ourselves packing the living room books back onto the shelf, refolding blankets, pretending normalcy. Every sound, the creak of the floor, the click of a book sliding into place, echoes with the memory of last night's confession. Yet each time I see her, pale and quiet, I think, she's here. She stayed. That feels new. At 4:15 we drive to Lincoln Park. Emily holds my hand on the car ride, her fingers cool. The city rushes past, buses, joggers, the lake glinting at our left. I stare straight ahead, every billboard about new beginnings mocking me. She squeezes my hand, I look at her, and she breathes, "Thank you." Dr. Reynolds greets us in her modest office, a pale room with a narrow bookshelf, a bonsai tree by the window, and two armchairs angled toward each other. I sit first, Emily follows. The therapist's eyes hold neither judgment nor pity, just an open invitation. "Tom, Emily, welcome," she says. "What brings you here today?" Her voice is steady. Emily's eyes find mine. I nod and I begin to speak. "I discovered my wife at a concert, on a live stream, with someone else." The words taste sour. Emily's gaze drops to her hands. "I don't know if I can trust her again," I continue, voice wavering, "and I don't know if I even want to." The next hour unfolds in halting truths. Emily recounts how lonely she felt, how that one moment of attention shattered everything she thought we had. I talk about betrayal, the hole it left in my chest. Dr. Reynolds nods and asks questions that cut through our defenses. "What does forgiveness look like to you? What would trust feel like, day to day?" Emily's voice trembles. "I want to rebuild, starting small. I'll share my location, my calendar. I'll check in every time I go out." She squeezes my hand. I look at her, at her earnest eyes. Part of me aches to believe her. Another part seethes. Why should I have to earn safety in my own relationship? We leave the office with homework, 3 daily check-ins, 1 gratitude note, and a nightly debrief. On the drive home, Emily turns down Pulaski, and we ride through the melting light over Lake Michigan. I watch her profile in the rearview mirror, hair catching the sun. She reaches out. I take her hand. She leans back as if relieved, but I keep my eyes on the road. Back in the apartment, we set up our first check-in. A 5-minute what we did and how we felt log. It sounds clinical, but it's a start. We timer our phones and sit face to face on the sofa. Emily talks about her day, the client meeting, how she fought the urge to text the new guy, how she missed our rhythm. I talk about my presentation in Denver, the knots in my shoulders. When the alarm buzzes, we look at each other, and for the first time in days, I offer a small smile. She returns it, tentative. Later, as dusk falls, I walk to the window with my coffee to watch the city lights flicker on. Emily stands behind me, resting her chin on my shoulder. I feel her breath, steady, and I close my eyes. The apartment is still, save for the distant hum of traffic and the soft glow of our bedside lamp. Trust won't snap back overnight, and forgiveness is a slow gear. But as I lean back into her arms, I sense that maybe this fractured heart of ours can harden into something stronger if we keep showing up every single day.